Okay, this is the Dove Lady, and I am going to make this video and show you a few things about these orbs of light and how everything that shines or light shines upon it and reflects off of is like an orb. Now, you might wonder, what is this you see right here? Well, I'm going to do a series of these to show you what all the things that shine and look like an orb. You might not know what this is, but now you do. That's a few strands of my hair. And it looks like little round discs all lined up in this, in many colors sometimes I see in it as well. Okay, what is this? You'll never guess this one. That's this little area right here I'm pointing to. There's a little bit of a shine from the light in my room on my fingernail, which I have this polish on. That's a clear polish. It makes it a little shiny, so that's what that was. That looked like an orb. Oops. Now, what is this? You'll never guess what this was. This was some wire and the light shining on the wire. All these shiny spots all up and down this area where they gather. That's full of orbs when you look real close up. Okay, what is this? You see some orbs. That's what it is. That's really what that is a bracelet. I love this bracelet because, look, you can just twist it all kinds of ways and put it on you. Can't see it real good, but it shines. And so, oops, excuse me. So it makes orbs. Okay, now what is this? That's some transparent tape. What is this? Bet you can't guess. That's this shell. Abalone shell. Now what is this one? That's definitely an orb. It's got all the ear markings of an orb. Like, see all the little round circles in it and all the color that's in it? That's a ball bearing. A metal, piece of metal that's round. And now, what is this one? That's the shiny part off of this piece of crystal. Quartz crystal. What would this be? That's some makeup remover, and that's the packages in is catching a little light right there. And see, what we've always not done is look at the shiny things, really look at the shiny things. The shiny things have something to show us. Now what would you think this is? That's my tripod. That's the metal part right there, catching light and making orbs. Okay, what about this one? Bet you can't guess. That's this planter that has shiny spots on the leaves of the plant. Okay, now what is this? That's the shine on a truck, where the sunlight is hitting the truck and making a real shiny spot. Oh, I did this one wrong, because something was, wait a minute. What did I do wrong? I didn't get the shine first. Okay, what this is actually leaves on a tree. See? I went up real close in so it didn't show as many leaves in the closed in one, because you have to go real close, like up on this area right here I'm pointing to where the light is shining on the leaves so brilliantly. If you focus real close in on that, you get orbs. Okay, here's another one. And it's this shiny spot on the rim of the car, or the bumper or whatever. Now, here's another one. It's a frog's eye. It's a little marble that is on this little metal frog I have in my garden. Here's some more. That's this little shiny piece of metal here that fell, and I've got to hang it back up. I think it's copper wire. But anyway, that shines. You'll never guess this one. It's a bag that we had a flood and all kinds of debris flowed through the yard with the torrents of rainwater. And this little piece of plastic, I don't know where it came from, but it wound up in my backyard, and I saw that it was shiny and it made the orbs too. Now here's another one. Surrounded by blue, but it's not the sky. It's this thing, a little mushroom, ceramic mushroom with that one little spot of shiny light right there. Now, I want to show you a little of how light travels. You can see the light source is way up high there, kind of up above that purple, violet colored spot. And lights often make violet colors. The violet color as a rod that comes down. And when the little photon of light comes down, it becomes active. It starts moving. And I will show you some of its movements. You see, there'll be one on either side and one in the middle. And if you could see this in real time, you know, as a movie, you would see that this goes back and forth. This one in the middle goes back into that one if you turn your camera back in that direction. And then, or your eyes if you're seeing this with your naked eye. And then it just goes back in the other one. It sort of, to me, it proves that light does not travel. It reproduces itself, like Walter Russell said. And here's some more. And after it travels, it sometimes starts curling up. See how it was a round orb, and you can tell, you see its little ridges there on the edge. All that line across it is a definite mark of an orb, because sometimes there's 2 or 3 or maybe more concentric lines around an orb. But that orb doesn't stay in one position. It can fan out, or it can ribbon out. It can do so many things. It folds itself up like a scroll. It starts getting colors in it. See this one, it ribboned out a little bit, and then it started scrolling itself up. It looks sort of like a scroll right there. And here's one that's like an accordion. It's all bunched up there and full of color too. And you see, when light's traveling like this, it leaves a little luminous, glowing area behind it, and in front of it too sometimes. Now, this one that was sending a new orb out between the 2 orbs on either side started getting some brilliant color into it. I thought that was just gorgeous. And this comes right out of the light. The light would be up there to the right, up high where you see my arrow. And as you see the orb, or the photon of light come out, it turns into something that will reproduce itself. And then this one usually disappears, and so does this one. It becomes something entirely new. Here's more examples of that. See, this one's almost going away now, but it's becoming what it is, and it will go into this one. Light just makes doorways for itself to go through. Now, these next few pictures are the light as it first comes out of the light source, and it's always kind of a teardrop shape and full of color chords. And they go out straight out, so if I'm, depending on what side of the light source I'm filming on, will be the strands, which look like folds. They look like folds, you know, like material that's folded. And sometimes they're not as colorful. They have a lot of dark in them. And sometimes I run into areas where 1/2 of this little orb will be all in the dark, because light sends out dark light. That's all I can figure. Now, this was an exciting day that this happened. This is part of a orb that's a teardrop shaped one. And for some reason, on this day, I didn't see all the color, but I saw this ring. And that was the first time and the only time that I saw a ring come in through the light. One day I saw several of these sort of things come in those first teardrop-shaped ones. Sometimes it comes directly out of the light, already fanning out and with color in it. You see this? The light source is over here, and it's coming right directly out of the light, just fanning out already. And sometimes I take marbles that are clear, that I have several of all glued together. So there's a lot of spots that are shiny, evenly placed, and so it makes a roll of orbs that are full of color and different designs within each one. I get real close in. I just have a little Sony digital camera. Less than $200 it was, and it gets in real close. So if you ever want to make pictures like this, you want to get a digital camera that focuses in real close. Now here, this little black area, you won't believe this, but this is this little character drops down into the orbs all the time when I'm taking pictures with my older camera. He doesn't show up in my new one, but then my older camera catches a spectrum of light that my newer camera doesn't catch. But I have named him. This is Harry. Sometimes if I don't see him, I say, "Harry, where are you? Come, I want to take your picture," and he'll pop right down in an orb. You'll see him again. I'm sure I have him in other pictures I'm going to be showing you. But look at these orbs. Quite a different design from this one to this one to that one up there. And I'm sorry, but I just can't believe that's lens flare. Not when it's that different for each one of these single orbs. It's like you're looking into a different dimension of light in each one of them. And here's another bunch. And another bunch. But see, sometimes like that last one, they had more white in them. And this one has more yellow. Sometimes they have a tendency to have their own color scheme. Like one over here is beginning to get a little violet color to it. This one's very orangey. And this one's very striped. So it's really unusual. And always in these orbs, you see these little white rings. And sometimes they're concentric rings around these rings. And when I'm looking at the orbs before I take the picture, those little rings are like coming to the surface and disappearing, and then others come up. It's like if you were watching water boil and a little round piece of the water came up and bubbled. And they pulse as well and flicker. There's life going on in this light. And look, this one here, it's vortexing and twisting, doing a twist. It does seem like these orbs, any part of them, can produce another orb just right out of the orb that you're looking at. So one orb may be thousands of orbs. It's like light had a mind of its own. And I'm just enjoying looking at what all it does. This one here is folded over in such a way, and it's almost like you see the ribs of it. Looks like a taco upside down. There's Harry. I caught a glimpse of him there, but I didn't get all of him in. That was an unusual one. It had all these concentric circles in the background there, you see. With other circles, it's like everything in the orb world uses circles. And here are two eyes. I call them two eyes because these two will be in almost every orb I take. And they always locate themselves a little more than halfway down and to the right. And you'll see them in other pictures. Every orb develops these two eyes, and it's just amazing. But sometimes you can't recognize them, like in this one, you can't because, well, maybe that's them there and there. I don't know, but if there's too much color, then they get camouflaged and you can't see them. But look at all the little tiny circles. that are in this. And now there's my artifacts, which I pointed them out before. I have this one up here that looks like a pea pod or something. And there's this one that I'm pointing to now. That used to be the only one I have. But the number of these artifacts are growing. And I'm prone to think it's not just dirt getting in my camera. Here's a new one. You can barely see it. Oh, we'll bring it over. This one right here is kind of new. I haven't had it before. And then there are, this one is one, it's an artifact. And it shows up usually in the same place in every picture, the same place on the page. And this is an artifact right here, but sometimes you can see this a little better, but it's real dark right here. Pay no attention to the background noise. Must be a ball game on. This is a hairy here, but the colors that surround him are kind of blanking him out. And there is this. I want to show you this. See if I can, oops, draw it up. Okay, you see this thing right here? This is one of my artifacts, and I call it a double jointed one. And there's the little fairy thing that looked real dark, and I think it looks like a little fairy because it looks like it has wings. But anyway, this little thing right here that I call the double jointed artifact, that is something fixed in my old camera. One day, with my new camera, I caught this thing in my new camera, you know, as just one of the things that are in orbs. So I'm wondering, what in the world do I have in my old camera that seems to be growing in number? It sure makes you wonder. And this one's pretty. I like this one. Got a lot of green and dark blue and red, Christmassy looking. And there it is again, and you see it come right out of the light just like that. Now, there's people who would say this is lens flare or give some other ridiculous explanation, or who would think that I'm a person who tries to deceive others and I do photoshopping. I don't do that. I don't even know how. All I can do, well, all that I will do to any of my pictures is lessen the light and increase the darkness. Because sometimes you get too much light, and then it makes everything too white, and you can't see the rich colors that are in it until you darken it a little bit. And they look all kinds of ways, with lines going all kinds of ways in them. Now this one had a lot of pink and purple, and a lot of little circles, and some of these circles overlap. You can see that one does it right there. I'll bring some of this in closer so you can see it. See how that does? And this little artifact doesn't look much different from some of the things that are already in the orbs. The colors are just, they're a riot of colors. I just don't know what to say about the colors, except they're extraordinary. I'll just run through a few of these and let you see the variety of colors. Sometimes I get ones that have a lot of the gold and yellow in it, like this one does. I think they're very, very beautiful, the ones that have a lot of yellow in it. There's Harry. And then there's those that look like this. I get this kind of look a lot, but I never get two orbs that are exactly the same. Real similar, but not the same. A closer up view of Harry there. And there's another view of him. See, these orbs, they're like fabric that can get a fold in it. Or it can just pan out a perfect circle. But you never know what it's going to do. Look, this one looks like it's got a lot of holes in it. or depressions or something. I could say it, but you know, there's Harry. He lives in a very colorful world. Sometimes I go with my camera right into the orb without considering trying to get the edges of it, because the color is just so fantastic that I want to get real deep into the orb. And so you can't see that this is an orb at all, but if you could see the whole of it, you would see that it is round. And these next few will be real close in photos I've taken of orbs. Sometimes orbs do this. They sort of merge together with another one, or one part of one will lend its colors to another orb right under it sometimes. Their colors fall in and fall out, and their colors morph all the time. The colors are always changing. Here's another of that ring that came in one day. And I saw it embedded in other round orbs thereafter a few days, but I never again have yet to find it coming in with the first initial teardrop-shaped orbs that first come from the light source. There it is again. There it is that first day. I took a lot of pictures that day of it. And see, you can see it here. I don't know if this is going to show it good. Maybe it will. Can you see a round thing right here? I thought that's that ring. And it's in this big one. And some of the pictures I have, it's more obviously it. And you see it embedded in the bigger orbs that are rounder. But you faintly can see it right there. I thought this one was very beautiful. All those pinks and light purple and aqua and light green and orange. I fall in love with the colors in these orbs all the time. They just fascinate me. Now orbs can do this too, and this is outdoors. They can just start getting real stringy, and you can see lines of like these I'm pointing to here. And they won't make a circle, but it's still an orb of light. You can see the little lines around the edges of it. You can see it there, and you can see it all up and down here. Sometimes orbs get great big black spots in them. But when I look at this one real close up, I see it has other color in it. It's just all getting real dark. That darkness has some reds and other colors in it. And here's a real colorful one. And now, lots of colorful ones. Another whole host of them. Now, this is something. Scientists, I don't know what they would say, what the particle physicists would say about all this. So far, I haven't been successful in getting any of their attention so that they say anything at all. But I really wish somebody would send them this video if they know a particle physicist, because I think this is something smaller even than the Higgs boson. Because metaphysics teaches that, well, one of the ascended masters said this, that at the center of the atom is an electronic fireball. And I thought, well, that sounds about right. There's another one that came from the light and just started tossing a baby back and forth. I call it a baby because it's like it has a mother and a father side. And then sometimes they do these strangest things and make little different looking kind of parts right in the middle of one of these colorful orbs, like this one. And then there's this colorful one and this colorful one. Sometimes you think you can make out little faces in them. And you do see a lot of little circles that look like the happy face, you know, 2 eyes and a smiley mouth. You see that a lot. And then sometimes the light just does like this. But the reason it's doing it this way is because of what I'm filming through. I mean, actually this is made with this thing right here, which is a glass candlestick. And when I'm getting the shine off of this when the light's on it, I can move it in various places, and the light traveling through this piece of glass projects what's in the atmosphere, but it carries it according to the structure of the glass. All of my round marble-like things make round orbs. And as I move them about in the room, it shows what is in what we would call empty space all around the light source. But how it looks is determined by what the glass has traveled through. I mean, what the light has traveled through, which in this case is this glass. But you never know what it's going to look like. You never know what colors are going to be in it. I have several pictures here, and I'm already at 26 minutes. So I'm going to go through them faster. Now, notice this one, you can sort of see the other side of this circle. But why is one half of this in the dark, when this one right next to it has no dark spot, nor does this one? Because they show different dimensions of light is what I'm thinking. And then sometimes they just look like, if you've ever saw that movie called What Dreams May Come, and they have a world, afterlife world that seems to be paint that just runs. You can step right into a scenery and it just it's painted. And this is like running paint. And orbs often have unusual things in them that you wonder, what in the world is that? Now this is an orb that made itself ribbon out and then curl up there at this side. But it never keeps any of these shapes for very long. It's always moving on to another way to look. I've had a lot of theories about these orbs. There's Harry again. One of them is that maybe this is what is in empty space. And maybe, since it's not symmetrical, it may be something like antimatter. Here's an orb that looks like it's breaking in half. It's got all this dark divide down the middle of it. Lots of times I get orbs like that. And then I get these that are so fluorescent looking, like this green in this, and it looks just fluorescent. And look how fluorescent this one looks, with all that red and orange. And then there'll be things like this right here, and this one like, okay, that's an opening of some sort. It's a circle too. It's so many things. And see, everything is circular. It's so strange how everything is a circle. Circles within circles within circles, without end. Here's a bunch more that kind of have a golden hue to them. Here's a few more. And they seem to have veins running through them, like this one here. And then there'll be a little dark thing that doesn't look like my hairy character, but it's something that's kind of dark. It's like the dark doesn't really bother these orbs. They just make use of it. It just makes their colors more pronounced and more rich. I thought this one was really pretty. It had a bright spot in it, which is probably an orb on the other side of this one that's so fanned out and thin and ribboned like. It's just like it's fabric, but it's a I guess you would say it's plasma-like. Now this was taken outdoors. You can see the tree in the background. And you can get a lot of color outdoors, but it's hard to see your screen because the sun shines in your computer screen. I mean, not your computer screen, but your camera viewing screen. You see, this is the sun making these orbs, but it's no different than the light in my room. The sun makes the same kind of orbs with the same kind of colors. And you see the sun is right up there above that purple spot right there. And you see the teardrop-shaped ones coming out first, and then you see the big round orbs. But sometimes outside, you don't get much color. Like these are very transparent, whitish orbs, and very transparent. You can see the tree right through them. But this one turned out quite colorful. Still, you can see the tree limbs. And this one, I was really proud of this one. I had two of them right there together. Very colorful. And this one's pretty good too. And this one. See all the colors, but it's a little bit tricky taking pictures of orbs outdoors. You have to hold your marble up, or your series of marbles or glass object, whatever it is that you're using to get a shine off of. But then when you focus up to get that closeness to the shine, then sometimes the background is all blurry because of your focus being in so much on the orb. This one turned out where the background wasn't so blurry though. I'm proud of this one. It turned out real good. And I just look at orbs and see them move in so many ways and take on so many different kinds of colors and looks, and it's just spectacular. It's, you know, something anyone can do right in the privacy of their own house in front of their computer or in front of any light. I sit at my computer most of the time, so, and my light is right here by my computer, so I'm always sitting in front of my computer. And the thing is, you don't want to get light in the background, some object that's lit up like a clock or your computer screen, because that will show up with your orbs. I'm just going to go through a few of them. I can't really explain why they do what they do. It just, I just look for the best shot, and I thought this one was real good because this looks like a little fairy flying over. And they ribbon out and turn and curve and go into their own self and out of their own self. Light is amazing. Oh, you hear it? They must have made a touchdown or something. Okay, look at this one. Isn't that unique? Look at that circle right there. And all these colors. Look at that one. I am fascinated by my pictures of orbs. But I live in a household where nobody's interested in it. I wish they were, but they're not. And you know, you just can't make a person have an interest in something they're not interested in. So that's why I like to put them on YouTube and get comments from people who might be interested in this sort of thing. Because to me, it's astonishing that you can see light like this. Of course, I've been astonished for a long time before I was able to take these pictures, because I've been seeing light with the naked eye, where it comes out of the light source and it makes all these strands of colorful light. It's almost like it has depth and dimension, that you could just travel a lot around inside of this light. But I'm addicted to taking pictures of orbs and showing all the different colors and things. That one has a lot of dark mass went over it. Kind of a greenish color to it. Sometimes it envelops an orb, like it's doing this one. Except that I take too many pictures. Now I have to put them on this thing called My Passport, because it clogs up my computer to have too many pictures, which I have too many of. I probably have over 2,000 pictures of orbs now. But I never know when something different is going to show up inside of an orb that I'm going to want to have the picture of it. Sometimes you think you can make out a face. Someone commented the other day they saw the face of Jesus in one of my orbs. Now look at this, isn't that strange, that dark line going right through that? Now this is an outdoor. I remember this orb. I took this outdoors. That's a lot of blue in it. But you can't see any of the background foliage or anything. But I did capture a lot of color in this one. And this is another outdoor when I had them all in a roll. And this is one. See, they can be just as pretty as the ones I take indoors. But you really don't want to go out under the noonday sun. You want to go out when the sun is lower in the sky and shooting long rays of light at you. I think that helps make these orbs so colorful. I'm at 37 minutes. I took this the other day and I started seeing this thing that looked like, well, it looks kind of like a tube, like it has like it's a vein or something that's running through. And I followed it with my camera. And at points it looked a little different than it did in that last one, like this one. I kept following it until it ended. And here's how it ended, in a mass of color. And then I followed it back the other direction. And it ended in a lot of color. I love it when the little glass object I use gives me a picture like this. It's because, you see there's ridges in here that the light traveling through them is probably what's making all of the different fluctuations that look so pretty and give it so much color. Now, this one was real unusual. It looked like something was in there that was like a worm or something. And there's little dark spots that have color down deep in them. Some will be right on the edge. But I could have moved the camera just a little bit and this one would maybe become one in the center, because the orb is like if you were looking through binoculars and you only see a portion that's round through the shape of the binocular. But it's really representing a vast scene that's unbroken by the circles. There's some more of that. I look at this and I just muse over it, like, what could this be? And why am I getting this? Look at that one. So unusual. There's another one. See, they can be very interesting even if they don't hold a lot of color. Like, okay, I'm going to go up on this one if I can. Oops. See right in the center of that? When you get up too close, you get these little, little digitized looking things. And see, there's another one, a hole that started making all this colorful stuff right there. I saw this and I thought, oh dear, I want to see that smaller so I can see the whole orb and see what that is in it. And there it is. It was this. I got the whole orb and the darkness there. Seems to be just a band that runs through the orb. For whatever reason, don't ask me. That one's very colorful. I love the look at the variations of the colors in them. Like, this isn't exactly the same pink that is. This has a lot of purple in it. And look at the gradations of the blue as it merges into darker blue, and then as it goes toward lighter blue, and then green, and then this beautiful yellow gold color. I bet any artist would love to be able to paint like this. But see, I'm an artist with this, but I don't have to paint. My mother was an artist, and she did quick sketches of people. She called herself the vagabond artist because she was always traveling and taking her art supplies with her and doing people's faces. And she never requests that they pay her, but they always wanted to, so she would say, well, you can pay me for the paper, because she used a real good quality of paper, Strathmore or something like that. And if they gave her a couple of dollars, she was happy, but some people would give maybe 10 or more. But she never impressed anyone that it costs this much, you know. It's whatever you can spare. Look at this, that's so beautiful. And when I have one video I made where I call it following a fractal or something like that, because I made a movie and this is constantly taking you down a path of more and more light that is twisted, and you feel like you're traveling through light that's going to make sort of the same kind of design as you travel through it, only in a little bit different ways all the time. That one turned out real good. Colorful. And see how the light just zooms here. It just makes all these little vortex-like cups all around. And you know, I have this theory that what is in the invisible, and this has been invisible until now because I'm making it visible, but what is in the invisible empty space out there is more real than what we see